All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? Welcome to the introduction to life coaching. Team, just so I know that you're with me, please can I ask a favor of you? Firstly, if you are willing to open up your camera, please do so we can see you. Secondly, I'd like you to please go into the chat box, right? And I just want you to open up the chat box and let us know what is your name, where are you from, and send us one emoji that represents how you are feeling today. Yes? Now we've got thumbs up emojis, thumbs down, but let's use something cool, right? We've got dragons, we've got penguins. So open that chat box, guys. Let us know who you are, so what your name is, where you're from in the world, and one emoji that represents how you are feeling today. Take your time. Make sure you've got something to write with. Hey, Sana, lovely to have you with us all the way from Saudi. Fantastic. Maya from Lebanon, welcome. Fantastic to have people from all over the world with us today. I think we're operating across a few different time zones. So let us know. Sherry from South Africa, lovely to have you with us. Awesome stuff. All right, team. So as we wait for everyone else to come through, please, can I just ask you one thing? Sit up in your chair nice and tall, and I just want you to shake it out. Just roll your shoulders a little bit, shake out your body, put a smile on your face. Yes, because it's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day, right? Where else would you rather be on a Saturday morning? Hey, Luke from Cape Town, living in Qatar. Beautiful. So shake it out, guys. Take some nice deep breaths. Sit up nice and tall so we can jump straight into today. Maisen, I hope I'm saying your name right, from Jeddah. That's in Saudi. Maisen, that's correct, yes? Awesome. All right, cool, guys. So let's kick things off. Firstly, the fact that you are here on a Saturday morning tells me, right, the kind of person you are. You invested in your own growth. You want to learn. You want to develop, right? That's why we would be here so early on a weekend. So guys, before we jump into today's full session, where we're going to give you a breakdown of what the life coaching process is about, what a life coach does, and we're going to share some coaching tools that you guys can take and use straight away after this session. Before we do that, I want to introduce myself to give you a bit of a background about us and our company. So my name is Rory John in full, and I wasn't always a coach. I actually used to be a lawyer. Now, that wasn't so great because we kind of used to get paid to get shouted at. And now that I'm a coach, I get paid to shout at people. And it's a very good trade-off. So I wasn't always in this industry, like a lot of you may be experiencing too. So when I started out, I was working in law. There were long hours, right? There was a lot of stress. And it was kind of that constant race to get to the top, right? You might have experienced it before. So it was all focused on work. It was all about income instead of impact. And I was kind of doing everything that I should be doing, right? I was going through college. I was doing what I needed to do in a real job. Yes, in inverted commas. But even though I was moving through the process, it didn't really light me up, right? Like I enjoyed it, but it didn't give me that feeling of satisfaction. I didn't feel fulfilled when I was actually doing what I was doing as a lawyer. So I was achieving a lot, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So please, either in the chat or with your emojis, please let me know. Have you ever felt like this before? Have you ever had that feeling when you're doing work or you're working a job and it just doesn't feel like it's what you should be doing, right? You feel like you could be doing more. Yeah, that there's a bigger impact that you could have made. And maybe it's not even that the job is bad, right? It might be a great job, but it just isn't doing it for you personally. And what I can tell is that a lot of times people who join our trainings, who are in this program, they experience this. Yes, they're doing one thing, but they want to give more. They want to give back in a more impactful way. So that is how I started. And then there was a turning point. And just like any good story, yes, I met a girl and everything changed from there. I went to something called a retreat. Just let me know, raise your hand if you've ever been to a retreat before. Yeah, a wellness retreat. And what happened is I ended up actually having to face this internal challenge that I was dealing with, right? Because I knew law wasn't for me, but I hadn't really accepted it. And when I was on this retreat, we went through these processes where we would visualize what it really was that we wanted from life and the path that we really wanted to take. And with that reflection, I came to the conclusion that law is great, but it wasn't my calling, right? It wasn't what I really wanted to give back to the world. So I decided to ditch the law and I became a personal trainer. Before we move forward, can you imagine having that conversation with my parents, right? I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to go help people out in the gym. Yeah. Luckily, I have very supportive parents, but of course, a challenging conversation. So I became a personal trainer. I started working with people to improve their health and fitness, to get a stronger body, to build their confidence. And that was great, right? I really enjoyed it. But as I was working as a PT, I still couldn't help but feel that I was making an impact, but I wasn't doing as much as I could be doing. So we'd have training sessions, and a lot of the time, we would end up talking for 30 minutes about their stress from work, their relationship challenges, their dreams, their doubts, their fears. So even though we were meant to be lifting weights, a lot of the time was actually just working our jaws. Yeah, we were having these kind of conversations. And I really felt like I wanted to help people in a more holistic way. I wanted to really help them change not just their bodies, but the way they thought, how they processed emotion, how they faced challenges, and how they overcame their own self-doubt and fear. And that's when I learned about life coaching. So it allowed me to gain those tools so that when someone came to me with their problems and their challenges, I felt like I could actually help them, right? It wasn't just giving my personal advice. It was really helping them think differently about the challenges that they faced. So once again, if you are here, it's because you want to improve yourself, and I'm assuming you want to help other people do the same. So please just raise your hand if you've ever felt that you really want to help someone, right? You want to help someone with their problems. You want to help them with their challenges, but you feel like you don't have the right skills. You feel like you don't have the right tools to really be able to help them. So please just raise your hand or send me a message if you've ever been in that position. Because that's really where I was, right? I wanted to help people change. I had the intention, but I didn't have the tools to do it. And it was only when I discovered the field of life coaching that I was able to build those tools, to actually be able to create a massive impact in the way someone thought and their confidence levels from the inside out. Yes? So we went from building biceps to building a better mindset. And they go very well together, by the way. So that was the journey. And today, we are very blessed that we are able to do that. We are able to help people improve their confidence, improve their mindset. But we have one really big problem, right? And this is the big reason why I want you guys here today. There aren't enough of us. There are simply not enough of us, and there are not enough hours in the day for us to do this work by ourselves. So the solution is that we created Ignite Coaching Academy. We started sharing what we have learned about coaching and about psychology so that we can help other people who have a similar mission share what they know and transform lives in their community. Because we want to have such a big impact, we have to build a team of people to help us do this. And that is why our mission is to turn people with a passion for helping, people like you, into professional holistic coaches. So that when people in your community, right, come to you for assistance, you have the tools to help them. You have the skills to truly transform the way they think, the way they show up in their life. And that is the project that we now work on. So overall, at Ignite, our mission is to help the change makers of the world. The ones that are ambitious, the ones that want to do more. We want to help them improve themselves so that they can have a positive impact on the world. And we need to build a team of coaches that is going to help us in this mission. Because truly what we envision is a world, and just stick with me for a minute on this, right? Can you imagine a world where everyone was healthy, they were confident, they were emotionally intelligent, and they treated themselves and other people with kindness? Can you imagine how amazing it would be to live in a world like that? And that's the vision that we have. That's why we do the work that we do. So in today's session, our goal is to firstly introduce ourselves and tell you why we're so passionate about what we do. And secondly, to show you how you can do that too. To give you a roadmap to see how can you take your passion for helping other people and turn it into a skill set. And if you choose, turn that into a business. So what is a change maker? I've just mentioned this term, yeah? Sit up nice and tall, guys. Roll your shoulders a little bit. Yes? Put a smile on your face. Yeah, beautiful day today. What is a change maker? A change maker is someone who refuses to settle for anything less than they can be, do, or give. People in our community are not people who are willing to settle for mediocrity. They're not people who will just stand by and let things go with the flow. They want to be the difference. They want to inspire change in themselves and the people around them. We all know someone like this, right? In a community, in a family, in a workplace. There's always that one person who's always bringing that positive energy, who's always thinking about solutions instead of focusing on problems. And if you're here, I'm guessing that that might be you in your family or your friend group or your workplace. So that is what a change maker is. They are those people that truly create a positive impact. Even when everyone else around them might be negative, they are the anchors that keep positivity and proactivity going. Now, what is a coach? A life coach is just simply someone who's a change maker and has chosen to build a career out of helping others become the best versions of themselves. They are people that want to work with others to truly help them unleash their full potential. So as coaches, there's a few key things we do. We help people create a compelling vision for who they want to be. We help them decide who they want to be in life and what it is that they want out of life. And then we challenge them. We challenge them to face their fear, to face their self-doubt, so that they can overcome those challenges. Now, that's why being a coach is very similar to being a personal trainer. Now, if anyone here has ever exercised before, particularly with a trainer, what does the trainer tell you when you're on rep number 20, your abs are burning, you want to cry, right? You're in pain. What does the trainer say? Do they say, oh, it's okay, you can stop now? Of course not. Yeah, they say, give me 5 more reps. Yes, give me 10 more reps. Don't give up. Exactly. And that's what we do as coaches for every area of our client's life. When things get tough, when they get painful, we remind them of what's important and we help them stay true to that vision that they want to create. We hold them to a higher standard. And that's a big part about being a coach. And very often, one of our most simple but effective functions is simply to just remind people of who they really are, of the strength that they have and the resourcefulness that they have. We unlock human potential. That is what we do as coaches. So if you're here and you've ever considered being a coach before, this is just some of what we do to help our clients and to help the people that we serve. So what I'd like to share with you, and this is a very important principle that I'd like you to leave this workshop with. I'm going to share with you a very simple framework that we use in coaching. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to coaching than this, but what we're going to give you is a very basic outline of how you can coach anybody. But there's one condition here that I need. Hey, Josh, hope you're doing good. There's one condition here, right? I'm going to share this with you, but on condition that you use it, right? I want you to take this, I want you to go out in the world, and I want you to do it. Because being a coach is not about what you put on your Instagram or your LinkedIn bio. It's not about the certificate you have. It's about your willingness to help and your willingness to challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone and do something that's scary. So when we share this with you, I want you to use it. This is meant to be self-help, not shelf help. Yeah? You know those courses and those books you bought that went to the shelf and now they live there? That's not what we want here. We want you to use this in real time. So this is a tool that we go into a lot of detail in our coaching program, and it's called the GROW model. And essentially, it's 4 to 5 questions that you can ask in any situation to help someone overcome a challenge, to help them get clear on what they want, what's stopping them, and then to help them, and this is the most important part, take action, even if it is very, very tiny. You don't need to have someone change their entire life in one session. What you do need to do is help them get momentum. So the GROW model has 4 parts to it. Firstly, G stands for goal, which is what do you really want? Now, please raise your hand or post in the chat. Do you know people that complain all the time? Just let me know. Do you know people that complain all the time, even if it's someone who's looking at you in the mirror? Yeah? We get into a pattern of complaining. A lot of people know what they do not want, but very few people take the time to consider, well, what is the alternative? What do I want instead? So for G for goal, we take the problems that our client faces and we help them reframe it. We stop asking what's wrong and we start asking, what do you want instead? What do you want to move toward and create? The next step is R for reality. And this is, well, how far are you from this goal right now? This is about self-awareness. We know now what we want, right? Instead of focusing on what we don't want. And now we ask, well, where are we in relation to that goal, right? So we build self-awareness around what is the gap between where I am now and where I ultimately want to be. Now, the way the GROW model works is kind of like a GPS. Yes, we've all used GPS or Uber here before. What does the GPS ask you when you're going to go somewhere? It asks you for 2 things. Where do you want to go? And where are you now? And only once you have those 2 things can you create a path to get there. And that is what the first 2 steps of the GROW model do. So once you've defined where you want to go and you know where you are now, the next most important question is, what obstacles are standing in your way? Why have you not achieved this goal yet? And when you ask that question, you're going to hear all of the reasons and the excuses as to why someone has not got there yet. Now, our job as coaches is never to judge. Our job is to help bring these things to the client's mind so they can deal with them. So what obstacles are in your way and what can you do about it? Right? What are the different things we could do about it? You brainstorm. What are all the potential solutions to this obstacle? We get really focused on how can we move forward. And last but not least, W is for will. So now we've brainstormed all the things you could do, but what will you do? What is the smallest little action that you could take after this session to move towards your ultimate goal? And this is where the accountability and the motivation comes. We help our clients stay accountable to what they've agreed to do, and we make sure that we are there to support them as they go through that. So this is the GROW model. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to share the next screen with you, and it's going to have 5 questions on it. And we're going to do these questions in real time. So you don't need to post them on the chat, but I do want you to write them out. And this is going to be the GROW model in practice. So you're going to write it out, and then you are going to, after this workshop, go out and do this with someone else. So we're going to take the next 3 minutes. Please have a look at the questions on the board, and I want you to please answer these questions. I want you to please write them down with a pen and paper so that we can figure out exactly where you want to go. So question 1, what problem are you facing right now in your life? What is something that's bugging you or something that you simply wish was different? Secondly, you're going to ask, what does the ideal solution to this problem look like? So what does the ideal solution look like? Number 3 is, why have you not achieved this yet? What's standing in the way? Number 4 is, what can you do to move forward? Write down at least 3 things that you could do to move forward in this challenge. So this is where we brainstorm. What are the different things you could do to solve this problem? If you'd like to share in the chat, you're welcome to. If you have any questions, You can let us know. We will be doing a full Q&A at the end. But for now, we really want to just practice going through these questions so you have a practical understanding of how to use them. So we identify the problem, we turn that problem into a goal, so it's positive and proactive. We identify the obstacles, we brainstorm the solutions, and then we decide on one thing that we're going to do moving forward. You can always recap this at a later stage, but for now, just get down a few key points that you'll be able to use moving forward. 1 more minute to go. Let's get those answers down. One of the most powerful things we can do as a coach is just simply be there to help our clients reflect on their thoughts. So if you ever have been dealing with a challenge before and you're in your head, it's very challenging to solve that problem when you're just stuck in your thoughts. But when you're forced to speak it out loud and when you're forced to write it down, it helps you process these challenges more effectively. So these are 5 questions, guys, that you can now use straight away to coach people. So what I'd encourage you to do, please, is once this workshop is done, go out and help someone. Go out and practice what you have learned here today. Apply these questions, even if it's just in a regular conversation, so that you can slowly start to build the skill of supporting people and helping them grow. So remember a little earlier, I told you 4 or 5. What do you mean, Mason? Just let me know in the chat. 4 to 5 questions. Yes. So as long as you ask these basic questions, this will give you the structure to coach someone. So practice these, even if it's with a colleague, with a friend, with a family member, just so you can get the flow of coaching. So a little earlier, guys, I told you that for me, one of my biggest turning points to becoming a coach was that I met a girl, I went to a retreat, and I suddenly changed basically my entire career overnight. So what I'd like to do now is in a minute, we're going to get up, we're going to move around, and then I'm going to introduce you to my partner who's going to take you through the rest of the workshop. But before we do that, guys, please just post in the chat really quickly for me. Are we on the same page with these questions that we've just been through? Please just open up the chat box. Let me know. Give me an emoji. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Are we on the same page with all of these coaching questions? Awesome. Got you, Josh. So glad you could join us today. And at the end, we will be doing a full Q&A so that you can open up your mic and ask any questions that you have. Awesome, guys. So before we switch over, what I'd like you to do is just jump up if you can and just move your body. Shake it out, move, take a few deep breaths, stretch your body. Yes, get a bit of energy, yes, into your body. Raise those energy levels, roll the shoulders, sit up nice and tall. And we are going to jump straight on to the second part of the workshop. So just give us the next 15 seconds to transition. When you can, switch those cameras on and let's keep on rolling.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Lovely to have you joining us. My name is Shrees. If you can turn on your cameras, let me see those beautiful faces. Got you, Luke. Thank you so much for having your camera on. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's such an absolute pleasure. Got you, Mason. Mason, am I saying your name correctly? No, unmute yourself really quickly, Mason. Tell us.
No, you're not saying correctly. It's Maysan.
Maysan, lovely to meet you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
My name is Sharice, and I'm usually called Chair. So, right. Okay. Great to have you guys here. Maya got you, Sherry, Josh. iPhone, let us know who you are in the chat. iPhone, I've just been seeing iPhone and wondering who that is. Hey, Josh, great to see you in Swaki, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Tracy, great to see you as well. Okay, so team, let's get started. I want you to sit up nice and tall, put a big smile on your face, and let's get going. So my journey into coaching, what happened? I was kind of that girl, right, that Rory met, but I started out in the fitness industry, right? I've been a personal trainer in the fitness industry since 2010, right? Don't ask me for my age. But what I realized is that working as a PT, exactly like Rory explained, most of the time, when people are struggling with their body, when they're struggling with their health, when they're struggling with all these things, going to the gym, what do you feel is generally the biggest obstacle? Is that there's not enough workouts in the world? Is there that there's not enough gyms in the world? Is there the fact that there's not enough diets in the world, right? Why do people struggle with losing weight? Why do people struggle so much with being healthy? Do you think it's because of a lack of a strategy to follow? Do you think it's a lack of resources? Or do you think there's a struggle going on inside here that's creating a lot of self-doubt and not leading to the steps that they need to go? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat box. Why do you think people struggle to achieve what they truly want? Emotions, right? Emotions, definitely a massive part of it. How to control them. And it's what's going on in the mind, right? So it's the thoughts that are preventing you. Self-esteem, right? What will people think if I show up to the gym, right? Not having enough belief in yourself that I will go there, I will follow through. So working as a trainer, I very quickly realized, right, there's a lot more than just working out and eating healthy. Mental strength, absolutely in Swaku. And I'm going to get you to unmute yourself a bit later and get that name right as well. Luke says the lack of motivation, we're not getting results. Absolutely right. Confidence, iPhone, you still need to let us know who you are. Right. But the biggest struggle that's going on is up here, right? That's generally the biggest struggle, is here is what's stopping us. So I moved into coaching and I started running these motivational retreats, right? I struggled with my own emotions. I was struggling with anxiety and depression and all these things. And I grew up in an environment that I was surrounded by the people with a similar mindset, right? But I started learning strategies that really worked for me, that really helped me to take control, not only just of my mindset and my emotions and my mood, but my finances and my relationships. And then being young and naive and full of energy as I was, right? I was like, this is amazing. I need to teach it to everything and to everyone, right? Everyone needs to learn these. So in 2016, I just started out my coaching journey and I started running retreats, right? I barely even knew what a retreat was. And I started running them. And that is how I really started on this journey. And I realized just how powerful coaching is and how necessary it is in the world today, right? Because everyone needs a little bit of support and accountability. Everyone gets further with someone being there to motivate them and guide them and help them with proven strategies. And as coaches, that's what we love using. We love using strategies, proven scientific strategies. And who can tell me in the chat box, what is a strategy? What do you understand by a strategy? What is a strategy? Surely you've heard of this word before. It's a plan, right, Mason? I'm hoping, Mason. A game plan. Absolutely, Sherry. Right? So a strategy, it's like a path to move, right? If I'm in the fitness industry, and I'm not, now I'm in the health industry, right? Now we train other coaches, we create certifications and courses, right? I spend a lot of time on personal development and reading books and watching podcasts. I don't spend a lot of time baking, right? It's a plan of action, absolutely, Luke. So I don't spend a lot of time baking. And if I've never, ever, ever baked a cake before, and I went into the kitchen and I just kind of threw in some ingredients and whatever pattern I thought that was necessary, how many of you would be joining me for cake and tea? Put your hands up. How many are coming and joining me? Oh, Mason is obviously a lovely person, right? Willing to get food poisoning just to be kind, right? Luke's like, oh, I don't think so, right? Right? If I didn't have a strategy and I never baked a cake before, chances are that cake is not going to be very successful. And I appreciate Mason for saying she's going to come for a cake, right? That's really kind. But chances are it's not going to be a very successful cake, right? But if I went to the best baker I knew and I got a recipe of how to bake a delicious chocolate cake, and I found the exact ingredients, which ingredients would go in which stages, exact instructions how to bake it, how many of you would come for chocolate cake and tea then, right? Right? Hopefully a few more, right? And chances are that cake would be way more delicious, right? Okay, now we got the people coming, right? So exact same as baking a chocolate cake. If you have a recipe, a proven strategy to follow, makes it a lot easier to follow, right? It makes it a lot easier to make it a successful cake. So that's why as coaches, what we do is we work with proven scientific strategies, because if you look at anything, if you look at emotions, if you look at happiness, if you look at fulfillment, there's a science behind it, right? There's a science behind why we feel what we feel. But once we start to learn the strategies, then we understand step by step, what do I need to do with my body, with my mind, with my self-talk? What are the steps I need to take, A, B, C, D, in order to create a massive shift? And then it becomes easier, right? So before I give you a couple of strategies, I'm going to tell you why I personally love coaching and why I'm here today, right? The first reason I love coaching is that I get to create my own schedule. I'm just going to lower my hand, right? Because I'm pretty sure I don't have any questions. Right? So I get to create my own schedule on my own time, right? I have the flexibility to work from anywhere in the world with anyone in the world. So what that really does is it gives me the freedom to travel, right? In December, we were in Thailand, and January, we were in South Africa, right? Right now, we're in Doha, and all the time, we're still working. We're still doing the same thing, right? Because our work is portable, which for me, coming from a background in fitness where I had to be at the gym 5 a.m. in the morning until 7 p.m. in the night, right? That to me is one of the favorite things, is that I have my freedom and my flexibility to set my own schedule. But the best part about it is that because I get to set my own schedule, I do not see any clients before 9 a.m., right? Coming from a background where I was up at 5 a.m., that to me is one of the best things, right? No more early mornings, right? So being a coach, absolutely, Sherry, that was the first thing. I was like, once I'm in charge of my schedule, no more early clients, right? The first thing that went out of the window. You get to create an income on your own terms, right? You get to decide what you charge. You can work with anyone, anywhere in the world, right? Meaning that you're never limited to your environment. You're never limited to your country, to your community, right? You can go and impact people from a different state, from a different country, from a different city. But the most important thing that I love about coaching is that purpose. You truly get to make an inspiring difference in people's lives and their emotions and their relationships and even in their finances. Every single week, I get goosebumps working with my clients, seeing the shifts that they're making. right? Anxiety levels and feelings of sadness and overwhelm and depression. That's in a couple of weeks, they're like a brand new person, right? Just having that support and that strategy to follow, right? Okay, beautiful. So what is a life coach? A coach is basically someone exactly like Rory said, that gets you from A to B in a much more quicker and efficient way than if you had to try and do it yourself. And the difference with our coaching is we work with strategic intervention. And the reason that I say strategic intervention is because with general coaching, it's about questions, right? You're asking powerful questions to inspire change. But let's go back to that strategy of baking a cake. Let's go back to that idea of baking a cake. If you've never baked a cake before and you try and bake a cake and you've got no recipe and that cake comes out a bit of a flop, I can say to you, okay, dig deeper, right? Figure out what went wrong and try and go bake the cake again. And you're probably going to do one or two things different, but chances are that cake is still going to be not the greatest, right? So what we believe in is strategic intervention. It's teaching scientific strategies, how to shift the emotion, how to shift the mindset. So once we give the recipe, how to bake the cake, and then you can understand that there's actually a model to follow. There's something, a proven strategy to follow. And then I ask you, okay, what would be the best way to bake the cake? Beautiful, right? Because we've got guidelines. We can take those guidelines and we can shift it. We can change it. We can make it a strawberry cake instead of a chocolate cake, right? Absolutely. But if you've got those basic guidelines, it helps to make the cake, it helps to bake the cake a lot easier. Okay, so I want to find out a little bit more about you. So you're going to either raise your real hand if you have one, or your virtual hand. So I want to find out how many of you today came here because you'd like to work on your own personal growth. Something inside of you wants to improve, something inside of you, you want to improve, you want to get better in your relationship, in your career, in your body, in your mood, in your finances. Beautiful. Got you, Josh. Got you, Mason. Maya, beautiful. Sherry, beautiful. Now, I want you to let me know, yes, Luke, right? How many of you came here because you'd like to learn that same skill to empower others, either in your career, professionally, in your community, in your society, or even in your home with your family, right? iPhone, we're still waiting for that name, else we're just going to keep calling you iPhone, right? Josh, both. Maya, Sherry, beautiful. Sana, beautiful. Great to have you, Sana. Beautiful, right? So you came here because you want to make a difference, right? Either in yourself or others. And the thing is, in order to do that, in order to create a massive shift, whether it's in your body, whether it's in your finances, whether it's in your relationship or your mood, or your emotions, or your energy and your confidence in life, there is a strategy to follow. And for today's session, I'm going to share with you the top 3 most important rules about creating massive shift and change, right? The 3 most important rules that I feel like if you can start mastering these elements, you can start becoming a master of change, right? The first step is shifting your mindset, right? So every single human being has their own model of the world. We've all heard of the word mindset, right? We all know what a mindset is. The way that you see the world, it's basically like your map of the world, what you believe is right versus wrong, your beliefs about how people should be and how people shouldn't be. And this is generally based on your upbringing from your society and the beliefs that you're holding. Now, if you really want to create massive change, you need to understand how people think, right? You need to understand what goes on in this mindset and help them understand why they do what they do. because every decision, every behavior is driven by a deeper meaning. And as a change maker, we need to understand that every single person has a different mindset. And this mindset that you hold affects your decisions, your behaviors, your outcomes in your life, right? But what most people don't know is that you're able to shift a mindset, right? You're able to actually shift your mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, from a limited or a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, right? You're able to create massive changes in your neural processing and the way that your brain operates when you know how, right? So as coaches, that's what we learn. We learn the science, the strategy, literally steps 1, 2, 3. You shift your focus. You ask yourself a different question. You reframe that belief, right? It's strategies that we learn to help a person realize that there's different mindsets, understand these different mindsets, and then shift the mindset to a mindset that's going to empower you. Right, so it's about understanding that neuroscience on a deeper level to help someone make a subconscious shift. Right, we've all heard of conscious versus subconscious, right? The majority of habits that people have, the majority of patterns that people follow are coming subconsciously. That means that the majority of people are following patterns and habits automatically without even realizing it, right? How many of you have ever driven the same path? Maybe it's the pathway to work. Maybe you go a certain pathway every single day. And then one day you're driving and it's maybe a Saturday or it's a public holiday. And all of a sudden you find yourself on the route to work. You're like, oh my gosh, turn the car around. It's Saturday. I'm freaking not going to work today, right? Or it's public holiday. But because you practice that route so much, it became automatic. You did it subconsciously without even thinking. Does that ever happen to anyone, right? You end up doing something and you're like, why am I even here? What am I actually even doing? How did I get here? Right? And that's because our subconscious mind is driving our behavior. So as coaches, what we do is we learn how to create those shifts from a subconscious level. So you're not just consciously trying to wish away the bad patterns, but you're actually working through them from a subconscious level. Beautiful. The next step then, we need to find that why, right? Get clear on the why. What is the motivation that's driving you to change? Why is it so important that you change? Because what you'll start to notice, especially throughout becoming a coach, is that everyone will always do everything that they can to either avoid pain or to move towards pleasure. So as coaches, we learn how to utilize what our clients and what the people around us, the person that we're trying to create that change in, what they associate pain versus pleasure to, and we learn how to retrain behaviors through retraining associations, right? Most people stay where they are because they associate too much pain to changing and too much pleasure to staying the same, and therefore they stay the same, right? But the thing is, every time your brain perceives a pleasure, it releases a little bit of dopamine and it says, oh, let's do that behavior again, right? So we need to learn the skill of how to reassociate what people think of as painful and what think of as pleasurable, right? When you make that change, what is the benefits that you will receive, right? And maybe think about it for yourself for a moment. What's some change that you've really, really, really been wanting to make in any area of your life, right? Maybe it's your body, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your career, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your energy or your finances. What is that change that you know that if you made that change, everything would be so much better. And then ask yourself, why do you feel you're not changing? What are you associating pain to? And how could you potentially reframe this to associate the change to more pleasure? I want to eat healthier, and I associate chocolates as something delicious, because it is, right? Let's be honest. But if I associate that chocolate to being more delicious and more pleasurable, then the idea of being healthy and confident in my body and having energy and feeling good, right? And feeling healthy, right? Then I'm going to carry on eating the chocolate. But when I begin to associate more pleasure with the long-term goal, with feeling good, feeling confident, taking care and respecting my body, I'll still eat chocolate, right? But maybe not every day. Maybe on the weekends as a reward, right? So we begin to learn how to shift behaviors and patterns and still love our lives. So it's about figuring out, what are those values? What are those things that matter most to a person? What is that purpose? What is that purpose to improve or to succeed? What is that driving factor? And how to best leverage that? So most importantly, it's exploring those deep beliefs driving you. The beliefs that you have about yourself, about your abilities, about what you can and cannot do. Because so many people are driven by fears, right? The fear of not being enough. These limiting beliefs that hold them back from reaching their potential, right? I'm not capable of that. What if I try? What if I fail? What will people think of me? I just can't do it, right? I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not short enough, right? I'm not whatever enough. This is called a limiting belief, right? And the thing about these beliefs is the majority of these beliefs came from a very, very long time ago. They were generally made as a child, as a protection mechanism, right? To protect you from trying something and failing, to protect you from being hurt, to protect you from being judged. But the truth is that these beliefs that were created to serve us generally end up limiting us as an adult. Because let me ask you a question. What are the capabilities of any human being? What is the potential of any human being? Who can tell me? What is the potential of us as human beings? Unlimited, right? Unlimited, limitless. And that's the truth for every single human being. Every single one of us are limitless. Every single person here has the same biological makeup, the same brain cells, the same capabilities that every other person in this world has. Right? But what prevents us from taking action is our beliefs, right? It's that voice inside of our head that stops us. Because the truth is that you are capable of anything. Unlimited with a clear plan, right? Absolutely, Luke. I love it, Sana. It's true that you are capable. You are capable of doing anything, of achieving anything, of being anything. And when you learn to take control of that little voice inside of your head, instead of allowing it to control you, when you decide that I get to decide how I feel, how I live, how I respond, then I take control of my life, right? And this is the goal. No one can make you feel a way that you do not want to make. My son says the voice we all want to mute. But instead of muting it, what if we shifted what that voice said to create something powerful, to train that voice to empower us instead of disempower us, to train that voice to focus on solutions, on helping, on empowerment, instead of focusing on the fears. Because as coaches, we begin to realize that whatever you focus on begins to grow. And I'm going to do a little test in a while to see if that's the truth, right? But as coaches, we need to learn how to overcome these beliefs and then teach that to others, right? We're doing it again at a subconscious level where you learn to believe in yourself, to support yourself, right? But very importantly, you need to learn how to create more emotional awareness, right? If I want to influence you and I come and I'm angry or upset or I'm sad all the time and I'm overwhelmed, chances are I'm not going to be able to communicate very effectively. Because how productive are you when you're feeling super anxious? When you're feeling super overwhelmed or super sad or super angry? Very productive or maybe not so productive? What do you guys think? Right? Versus when you're feeling good, when you're feeling aligned, when you're feeling motivated and energized and fulfilled, how much more productive are you when you're in these states? So to be able to influence change, you need to learn how to manage your emotions and manage your state on a deeper level. And the thing is, most people think that emotions come to them, right? I was sitting here happily minding my own business when all of a sudden anger came and it like pounced on me, right? Or sadness or anxiety. I didn't do anything, right? But when we understand psychology on a deeper level, we understand that emotions are created by patterns. It's baking that cake, right? You do A, you do B, you do C, and you experience an emotion, right? So therefore, to be able to shift that emotion, we learn how to shift those patterns. And we learn that every single emotion serves us in a positive way. It's there to give us a message, right? Anger is telling you that someone's gone across your boundaries. Sadness, you're feeling a perceived loss. So you need to dig within and self-reflect. Anxiety is telling you to prepare. Something is coming, right? But so often people get caught up in the physical response, how it feels. They forget or they don't know how to listen to the message. And because they don't listen to the message, the emotion keeps repeating itself. So people tend to stay stuck, focused on that problem. So what we need to learn as change makers, as coaches, is we need to learn how to focus on solutions, because whatever you focus on begins to grow and consumes you. And I'm going to do a little test to see if this is true. I'm going to need 2 volunteers. And Mason, because you've been so lovely with us, I'm going to ask if you're okay to volunteer. Don't worry. You're not going to be tested. The rest of the people, and Paul, because you've got your camera off already, right? I'm going to ask you if you don't mind also being a volunteer. So Paul and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open the camera nice and wide. So it's quite simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions about, don't worry, Mason and Paul, not you guys, the rest of the people. Hi, Priya, I see you there as well. So I'm going to ask you guys to be focused on what I'm saying, and let's see how important focus is. Did you have a question, Mason, or are you just getting a little bit nervous because we're picking on you?
No, good. Ready.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I want everyone to look at Paul's camera, Paul's image. I want you to look at the color shirt he's wearing. I want you to notice what's in the background. What's the color of the wall? Is there any objects? What colors do you see in the background? I want you to just notice, look, see what all you can see. Mason and Paul, please turn off your cameras. So I hope you guys had a nice big look. Quickly, Paul, turn off your camera. Don't let them cheat. So just turn the camera off. Okay, I'm going to just stop your video for now. Okay, So I want everyone to let me know in the chat box, what color was Mason's wall behind her? And question number 2, what color shirt was she wearing? Keep your cameras off, Mason and Paul. What color was Mason's wall? And what color shirt was she wearing? Everyone let me know in the chat box. Let's see who was focusing. Let's see who was focusing. White and black. Okay, interesting. Let's see what other answers we get. Sana, is that a white background or is that a white and black background? So let me know, what was the color of the shirt? What was the color of the background?
Ah, third shot.
What
Huh?
color?
Sleeping.
Okay, so let me know, what was the color? Let's see who gets it. White background, Maya says. Okay, so Sana says white background and black t-shirts. Any other guesses? Who's going to play? Who's going to play? Aisha, I see you didn't answer. Can I ask you why you didn't? Oh, because you're driving. Please don't answer. Priya, did you notice anything? Right? Why didn't you guys know? I told you to look. I gave you a chance to look. But what did I say? I said, look at Paul. So, Mason, if you don't mind, open up your camera. Paul, you can open up your camera if you like. Right? So have a look, shirt. Have a look. It's a blue background and it's a black shirt, right? But what was everyone doing? Everyone was looking at Paul, right? So whatever you focus on depicts what you will notice, right? Whatever you focus on grows. And the thing about our brain is our brain can only focus on a certain amount of information. So if I'm telling you, focus on this, look at this, you don't see, right? If I'm telling you, look at my black shirt, you don't see the white wall. If I'm telling you, look at Paul's white shirt, you don't look at Mason's black shirt, because whatever you focus on consumes your mind and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. The thing is, most people focus on all the bad things. Most people focus on all their flaws, all the things that are going wrong, all the bad things in the world. And let me tell you, if you look for that, you're going to find it, right? Because there's a lot of it. But if you look for the good, you're going to find that as well, because there's also a lot of that. But depending what you focus on is going to consume your energy and it's going to affect how you're feeling. Whenever you focus on bad, you feel more bad. You need to learn how to shift the focus to focusing on the things that are going to make you feel good, to focusing on the things that are going to make you feel more grateful, more empowered. Rather than focusing on all your flaws, all the things that are going wrong, we learn to focus on the things that are going right. And whatever you focus on, you move towards. So you focus on your gratitude, you focus on the things that are going right, you focus on your blessings, and this grows the better you feel, right? So we learn to manage our states. And that's what we do in our coach training. We understand how to shift that focus, right? Developing emotional intelligence as a core skill. So every single one of our coaches, they first go through their very own personal transformational experience, right? Developing your own emotional intelligence, how to manage your own states. And then you develop the skills of teaching that to others, right? Empowering others. So what would the next step then be? If you're someone who is serious and who wants to turn their life into becoming a change maker and step into the life of purpose, freedom, and fulfillment, you could get certified as a professional life coach, right? And we offer at Ignite Coaching Academy, we offer a comprehensive certification program that provides you with all the tools and the frameworks and the credibility to coach at the highest level, right? You go through a in-depth immersive training where you gain in-depth knowledge on proven coaching methodologies, how to structure sessions and set goals and track progress. Most importantly, you earn an industry recognized certification that builds trust, and you take everything that you learn and you learn how to turn that into a business. Right, so our training is accredited through the International Coaching Council. So it's one of the oldest coaching accreditations based globally, right? So it is internationally recognized and accredited. And throughout our training, you get 3 certifications, right? Professional life coach, a behavioral coach from Behavioral Coaching Institute, and you get a certificate in emotional intelligence, right? So if this is something that you feel the calling and the purpose to do, we've only got 4 spaces left in our upcoming training. It's starting on the 19th of May, 2025. It's going to run every single Monday and Wednesday. So it's live virtual workshops just like this, filled with strategies, filled with interaction, filled with communication and community. So twice a week, we have these interactive, immersive workshops from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on a Monday and a Wednesday. And then we have an online learning platform where you can access the recorded versions of all the live sessions. You have some pre-recorded videos on each topic, right? We go through the process of exploring the mindset, understanding neuroscience, how to shift the mindsets. We go through values and beliefs and the art of fulfillment, the science of achievements, right? We go through every single emotion and what the message is and how to effectively respond. And then we take you through the coaching process of asking powerful questions and how to actually inspire that change using pain versus pleasure, right? So we're doing everything at a subconscious level. So you get all the tools that you need, all the support, and a community of like-minded individuals. So if this is something that you're wanting to join us on, you can reach out to us via WhatsApp after this to secure your space, or you could book in a complimentary discovery coaching session and get a feel of what that coaching process is like, right? Get a feel of what you can actually do and how you can actually inspire as a coach. So team, I'd like you to give yourselves a massive round of applause. Nobody fell asleep, right? Thank you so much for your energy. Aisha didn't crash her car, so we're all super happy, right? Thank you so much for your time and for your energy. I would love to know from you. Let us know in the chat box, or if you'd like to even unmute yourself, let us know what was your biggest win from today's workshop. I am going to open the panel for any questions, right? So please stay behind if you have any questions or if you want to communicate and interact with us one-on-one. But if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave. Just let us know in the chat box what was your biggest win of today's session. And team, thank you so much for your energy. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere in the future. Thank you. So let us know if you have any questions, please stay behind. You can unmute yourself. You can let us know in the chat box. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, my son. Thank you, Sana. Lovely to meet you all. Lovely to have you here. So any questions, please do feel free to unmute yourself if there's anything at all. Sherry says, I realized that anything is possible when you have a belief mindset. Absolutely right. A growth mindset, a belief in ourselves. Beautiful. So let us know, what was your biggest win? What was the biggest takeaway that you got? Thank you, Priya. We'll see you on the 19th. Lovely for you to join us. Great to have you here as well, Maya. We're so happy to have you on the training with us as well. And we look forward to seeing you in person, inshallah, soon. My son, every emotion is there to give us a warning. Absolutely. It's a message to our psychology, right? Once we understand the message, we understand how to create a change. Luke says, thanks for today. We'll be in contact, giving me better insight and understanding. Thank you, Luke. Lovely to have you. Josh says, you can't help others if you don't know how to help yourself. Absolutely, right? It has to start within. Okay, team, I hope that you have a lovely Friday, a lovely Saturday, right? A day behind. Hope you have a lovely Saturday. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, and we will see you soon. Bye, guys. Thank you. I'm still here. If there's any questions, please let us know. No worries, Paul. Better late than never. Great to have you. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye, Priya. Bye, Sana. Lovely to meet you.